Welcome to the Weekenders. This is the show where we talk football, and there are normally I say the biggest games of the weekend, but there obviously are no more football games left for a while, unless we're talking spring football, which this is not a spring football podcast, but yeah, no more college and NFL for a little while, and yeah, we are sad. We are sad about that. But yeah, still got a good show for you guys. We're gonna recap the Super Bowl, give some takes, and then give some way too early predictions for next season. So I'm excited about that segment for sure. But first of all, I just want to say, and I'll let you guys give your thoughts too. I know a lot of people have given thoughts already, so I don't necessarily want to make this too much of a thing, even though it is a very serious topic. But I do definitely want to say, I know when I saw the news about the shooting of the Kansas City Chiefs player, I was gutted. And so I want to say that my condolences to the woman that lost her life, and the 20 that were injured. I saw the relationship report say, I hope that they are all going to be okay. And it's tough that, we hear about shootings a lot, and that's very unfortunate, but I think this one hit close to home for me because I know, if I was a Chiefs fan in Kansas City and my team won the Super Bowl, I'd be out there celebrating with everyone else. And so, I could see myself in that situation, and that makes it even more scary. It's just really sad, and I really just want to acknowledge that and say I hope everyone that did, I hope everyone just keeps this in mind, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, and shout out to the unsung heroes that took down those shooters that standing by and doing what everyone needed. So prayers and thoughts to them as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So on a brighter note, we're going to give congratulations to our very own Lexi for winning of the week for the year. So real quick, let's let everyone know how we got here. So yeah, lock of the week, we lock in one pick every single week this year. Last year we did a record, so somebody was 11-3 or whatever. We did a win-loss record. This year we decided to tally points, just to make it a little bit more simple. And Lexi pretty much led throughout the year. Just with she did a lot of.
Bobby creeped up on the end there. I really thought he was going to take it from me.
Tied it up the last week. So close. Now I'm in third. Brutal.
Yeah, Lexi, she stayed in the lead with a lot of good over/under locks, which is really smart. I think that was something that definitely I'll think about next year. But the final score was Lexi, the winner, with 30 points. Myself in second place with 25, and Bobby close behind, but third place with 24 points. And last week we decided for the Super Bowl to make Lock of the Week a little bit more special. We decided to do a game pick and a prop. So what put Lexi over the top was picking Chiefs +2, plus seeing Christian McCaffrey over 127.5 total yards. Bobby had Chiefs +2 and Brock Purdy over half interceptions, which I'm not going to lie, I thought that was going to be the one that would hit out of all the props that we picked, and that did not happen. In fact, Patrick Mahomes is the one who threw the interception in the game. So that's crazy. And then myself, I had the Chiefs as my pick, and Travis Kelce over 70.5 receiving yards. Did not look good in the first half, but Travis Kelce went on a tear, ended up with 90 yards. So that's what put me over Bobby up in second place. So really, really great year for everybody with locks. I think we really had some cool moments this year, and congrats, Lexi. You did an awesome job.
Thank you.
I will say, even though I finished last, I had the pick of the year by far when I predicted Iowa to score 0 points in a football game.
That was like a little trophy.
Yeah.
I mean, just a tiny one. It's not doesn't deserve the big one. So look, sometimes you win by being a hater, like that Iowa game. Sometimes you lose by being a hater, like that Iowa State game. Iowa State. Brock Purdy, who's from Iowa State. I guess the moral of the story is hate on Iowa, but don't hate on Iowa State or products from Iowa State.
Bobby, you can know you this time too.
I will take it. I will take it. I will pay for the postage. I do not care.
You need say best worst pick.
Oh man! All right. Well, yeah. So that's congrats, Lexi, on that. All right. Let's recap the Super Bowl. When we talked on the last show, we kind of gave our Super Bowl party takes. I want to know what did you guys end up doing there? How did you guys watch the Super Bowl?
So I actually laid low. It was just me and Jake, and we ended up just kind of hanging here, eating just comfort food, appetizers, snacking on stuff all day. It was kind of nice, and then just got to go to bed right after. That was boring this year.
Nice. Well, in my case, it was basically a mad rush from the Thunder Sacramento Kings game that Sunday. I just went straight to the party. It was a good time, but it was just kind of took a while to get I need to get relaxed and everything. Hung out. It was a good time. Just hanging out with a bunch of friends and yeah, good times.
Sounds good.
What about yours?
Yeah, love both of those. So I went to Las Vegas. For those who don't know, I live in Los Angeles, so it was a short three-hour drive over to Vegas. Didn't go to the Super Bowl itself, but me and a friend and one of his friends that lives in Vegas, we all went to Westgate Casino. It's supposed to be one of the best sports books in Las Vegas on the Strip. And we went there to watch the game. TVs were awesome. It was an awesome view, honestly. It was a cool environment, too. There were a lot of Niners fans, obviously because of the proximity to California, but there was a good amount of Chiefs fans, too. And there was these crazy ladies that were from Missouri, and they were all in Chiefs gear, screaming the whole time, and I was so hyped for them because they were just bringing all the energy into the casino. So that was really cool, really cool environment to be in, and yeah, it was fun. Vegas for the Super Bowl was definitely awesome. I think just in general, not even because the Super Bowl was in Vegas, just I feel I would do it again next year and watch the Super Bowl in a casino. That was a cool experience.
For sure.
All right, so I guess I was gonna say rate your Super Bowl watch party from 1 to 10, but I feel weird about hey Lexi, watching it.
Hey, it's a 10 in my book, baby. Okay. I wake up at 3:34 a.m. for the gym, so it's
I love it.
Early nights for me.
I love it. On you, Bobby.
Can't hurt Michelle's feelings there. So to give it an actual score, but it was good. It was a good time.
Wait, say that again. You're right.
Your score.
I can't give it I can't give it anything less than a 10 because then she'll analyze what she did wrong and she's just one of those type of people. I don't want to hurt her feelings. It was a great time. Don't get me wrong, but a 10 is pretty damn perfect. That. Let's just be realistic, folks. But,
I love it.
Yeah, no, it was a good time.
I love it. All right, so let's talk about the game real quick. What were some of your biggest takeaways? Did the game play out as you expected it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Lexi, you got it. You got it.
So, it totally did. I didn't think it was going to be any type of like crazy flashy game. It wasn't the typical like Chiefs offense all year. It was going to be like a defensive on both ends. And it was kind of like boring for the most part until like, that last quarter there and stretch. But that's kind of what I thought. It would come down to the wire and then one of the teams would pull away. And I definitely thought it'd be the Chiefs. So.
Yeah, no, I feel like it played out in two different ways, in a way. Where, yes, I was surprised that the scoring was as low as it was. Some people called that a bad Super Bowl. And I'll put it this way. It was a bad Super Bowl, but a great football game. So if you wanted flash, if you wanted excitement, that wasn't the one for you. But if you wanted a good, gritty, well-played, well-schemed football game, that was it. I was not surprised that the Chiefs were going to win the way they did. When they got down kind of early, everyone was like, oh, here they go. They're done. I'm like, no. Just watch. They'll find some crazy-ass way to come back and win it. Voila, they did. So that part I was not surprised about, that they found a way to kind of gut it out and get a win.
Yeah, for me, it did go the way that it was supposed to go. I think I said on the pod last week that I could see this being a Rams-Patriots Super Bowl. And I'm not talking about Rams-Patriots from 2001. I'm talking about Rams-Patriots from years ago. Like that.
18. I think 18, right?
Yeah, that snore fest.
Terrible.
This game was much better than that one, I will say, especially because of the ending. But yeah, there were way too many points. And there were just like a lot of mistakes on both sides. Patrick Mahomes threw the interception. I think both teams fumbled. Niners muffed the punt as well. And a lot of people talk about, some sequences in the game where coverages were missed. Defensive stuff wasn't right. So that was, I would say, like, there obviously wasn't going to be a lot of penalties called because it is the Super Bowl. And in a championship situation, like, refs swallow the whistle. We all know that. But, in some ways, like, my takeaway is, like, it didn't feel so much as it felt like a defensive game for sure, but I felt like it was even more so like maybe a sloppy game. Like, I don't even know if that's the right word, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, in some ways it was kind of sloppy. And at the end, the Chiefs just kind of like pulled it together. And, from experience, they were able to pull it out and go make a play down the stretch to win the game.
For sure.
And I'll even add, like, to go into the sloppy point, like the fact that the Niners didn't know about the overtime rules. Like, that's like, how the hell do you not, like, prepare for that?
Honestly, it was like, it was just bad. And the decision to take the ball first,
The whole we wanted the ball third thing, you got to be real damn confident you're going to score that touchdown.
I know.
And if you're playing and going with the flow of how that game's going, you should know that's not a guarantee. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Any other major takeaways from the game itself? Brock Purdy's
not really. Yeah, I'm not super mid, but like, he's. I feel like he's still not as great as everyone is saying. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
He was not mid enough. I tell you what, the entire game. The entire game. Do you know how it feels to go an entire game thinking that every single throw this guy makes could be your time to get out, and he just never does it? Oh, it's the worst. Heartbreaking stuff, I tell you.
Before I get to the next topic, I realize I skipped one thing. We have to talk about it before we go to the next thing. Halftime show. What'd you guys think? 1 to 10.
Yeah, I mean, especially like, my age group, it was a good target for it. Like, I loved it. I loved every bit of it. It was, I think a lot of people were complaining, but I'm like, well, I guess if it's not that, you're not that style, but I thought it was good.
I thought it was good. I liked the halftime show, honestly. I think partially some of it was the ending was so just incredible. Like, it started out kind of all right, but my impression of it will be the just insane ending. All my friends around like the TV just hooting and hollering, having a great ass time. Like it was excellent. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I didn't really see too many complaints about it other than like Alicia Keys missing that note in the beginning, and then like people were
I respect that they didn't lip sync.
Oh, for sure.
Totally respect that.
Absolutely.
I would, if anything, to me, the missed note, that flub note, like, emphasized me, oh, this isn't even like a live recording. This is just straight up live, which I, for one, really appreciate. Because on that scale, doing all of that, that's difficult. That's difficult.
Well, the live recording thing is weird because, like, there was definitely, I think some of the music might have been, like, pre-recorded. Because there were definitely, like, videos of like, people, like, posting shots of her playing the guitar. And they're like, she's definitely not playing the guitar live. Like, she's just pretending to play the guitar. Like, I think maybe the vocals were live, but the music parts of it maybe were pre-recorded, which honestly,
I agree, and I'm fine with that. To me, it's like that. I get that. That's a little hard to sync and have everything work all right, but the vocals, that's the real difficulty right there that I appreciate.
I will say this: I don't know if we're ever going to see roller skates and stripper poles on the Super Bowl.
Hey, anything's possible.
Oh man, we've come a long way since that post Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake. Like, oh, here's Paul McCartney and the Who. Like, we need to tone it all the way down. We've crept up to the stripper poles and all of that. So there we go. We did it, guys. We finally, it took us 10 years, but we finally made it back to being able to be risky again.
Risque.
The Janet thing was 20 years ago. Can you believe it?
Oh my God.
Sorry, I made you feel old.
20 years. He's like 10 years. 1990 was 20 years ago.
That was a formative moment in my young life.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It's wild. Weird times.
All right. Oh, man. All right. I love it. Okay. One last thing on the football side, or like the Super Bowl side. One kind of fallout from the Super Bowl and very controversial decision has been the Niners deciding to fire Steve Wilkes, essentially. And Kyle Shanahan coming out with a statement to say that, it was a choice it was a hard choice, but he felt like it was the best for the team and what situation. And I think there's like a lot of different angles to this. And I have sort of the connection to Steve Wilkes, obviously, because he was interim coach of the Panthers, and he was also coordinator on the Panthers for a long time, coordinated our Super Bowl defense. Obviously, his talent as a coordinator was very apparent in the Super Bowl. Throughout the season for the Niners, but also in the playoffs. And so, there's a lot of sides to this, but I want to kind of let you guys respond. Like, what do you feel like the firing was warranted, or surprising to you, or what?
I mean, I thought it was surprising. The Niners defensive unit was really, honestly, pretty solid all year long, and I thought they were pretty good against Kansas City. I think they just kind of needed a scapegoat, is how it feels externally. Now, we don't know what was going on in the room. We don't know what that, what the behind-the-scenes stuff looks like. But from the outside, it looks like a pretty tricky firing. Like, if they win that game, they're not firing the guy, obviously. So, I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah, well, I don't follow, like, closely on San Fran stuff, but their fans on Twitter were like just basically saying that this was going to come no matter what. Even if they won the Super Bowl, he was getting fired. That he hasn't been good all year, and I'm like, well, I don't believe that. I was shocked. And it totally has scapegoat written all over it. But hopefully he can pick back up somewhere. He's, like you said, Max, he's got a lot of talent. I think he'll do well for another team. So someone else will get lucky with him. But yeah, it was definitely not on par with what I thought should happen.
Yeah, sorry, trying to get off mute. It's definitely interesting because the things that I'm seeing come across, and I've kind of followed this a little bit because, again, Panthers fans, a lot of people, especially seeing the way that this year played out. Well, let me even go back. When the news came out that Steve Wilkes was not going to get the head coach job, a lot of fans in Carolina were upset that he didn't get the job because, after Matt Rule was fired, like, he had the Panthers playing their best football that they played in a long time, did a lot of things well. So a lot of people didn't understand why he couldn't get a head coach, job. I think it still kind of sucks of what happened to him in Arizona. That's a whole different story. And with the Niners, I think, I'm sorry, whenever the Panthers, we had the year that we had, and so there was like a lot of Carolina supporters for Steve Wilkes, throughout this season. And so whenever he got fired, like, there was an echo chamber from kind of what I saw, and like a lot of people like confused and questioning it and saying, like, I think Bobby said, like, this is a scapegoat thing, yada, yada, yada. But from everything that I've seen and heard so far, I think some of it was that Wilkes was like a little bit like his style kind of just didn't mesh with Shanahan. And honestly, like, what happened in the Super Bowl, yes, there were probably some mistakes made with the defensive scheme. And, say whatever you want. Like, it's almost like a chicken or the egg thing because, yeah, there might have been mistakes, but Patrick Mahomes is also Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid is Andy Reid for a reason. Like, they might have been able to carve up any defense. So we can't put the blame all on him. And then you add to the fact that offensively, in a lot of ways, the Niners didn't do their job, especially at the end of the game. So, I understand it from that perspective. Steve Wilkes did do a phenomenal job this year. I think year over year, I heard some arguments that the Niners were better in some areas last year than they were this year. So, for example, last year, the Niners were better in total yards allowed, by a little bit. Rush defense wise, last year, the Niners, were a little bit better. Last year they were number one in points allowed. This year, they were third. So, I mean, marginal differences, and maybe, again, the defense is a little bit better last year than this year. But again, the Niners got back here, and, that's what matters. And so, I don't know. I think it was a mix of maybe Steve Wilkes' personality not being a total fit with what Shanahan normally like works well with. If you think about D'Amico Ryans, you think about Saleh, those are more rah-rah guys. Wilkes is more reserved. I think I saw a tweet where somebody was saying that Shanahan made Wilkes move from being upstairs to the sideline, and like that was a thing. So yeah, I think you can see a lot of things about this firing. One thing I will say is I think we'll never know like the real reason. But I'm just speaking from what I've seen and heard, from the internet, from TV. Like it just kind of seems like Wilkes did a fine job, but stylistically, maybe the head coach wants to go a different direction. All I'll say is this: you had a great defensive coordinator in Saleh. He got a head coach job. Had a great defensive coordinator in D'Amico Ryans. He got a head coach job. Steve Wilkes is a great defensive coordinator, no matter how you feel about his personality or whatever. And, now you fired him. The chances of you striking gold again with another defensive coordinator is slim. The great defensive coordinators are not growing on trees. So I would be skeptical about, what that looks like for them moving forward. But yeah, that's kind of my take on it based on what I've seen. Is there any chance that Vrabel or Bill Belichick, either of them, take that job at DC for the Niners?
What? Sorry, you like cut out there.
Okay, sorry. Could you see Mike Vrabel or Bill Belichick taking the job of defensive coordinator for San Francisco?
Not Belichick. No way.
No. I don't even think Vrabel would. Like, not like under Shanahan. I feel like that's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think either of those guys would rather take a year off and evaluate their prospects.
Yeah, I mean, so in that case, I don't know who you get as DC. I know when the Seahawks were looking, some team was looking for a DC recently. I think it was the Seahawks. And I know like Rex Ryan's name was out there, and some other people. Maybe one of them, maybe it was the Cowboys. It was the Cowboys. Cowboys were looking for a DC. Because Dan Quinn left, and there were some names that were out there. I don't know if any of those guys end up being DC. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see who the next DC is. Great DCs don't grow on trees. Hopefully, the Niners know what they're doing because, you're running out of good guys to be coach on that side of the ball. And I'm also curious to know where Steve Wilkes lands. Steve Wilkes isn't a young guy. He's been around the league. This thing with pattern with him is a little strange to me. Everyone and a lot of players sing his praises, but to sort of be let go from two jobs and then the one place where you worked for a long time didn't want you as a head coach is a little weird to me. So anyway, that should be something to watch. All right. Last thing on the agenda before we go. Next year, we'll be here before we know it. We already got the combine coming up. We're gonna talk some draft here after we take a break for a few weeks. But next year, what are some way too early predictions that you guys have? Let's start with college football.
I think a lot of people, think, Ohio State is going to do well and stuff, and I think they will, but I think Georgia's going to steamroll again. They've got quite the roster they're building up, and I also think Alabama's not going to be good at all, so it's going to be a kind of a hit for the SEC, but I'm just excited overall to see the expansion and to see the new teams in their respective conferences. But it's going to be chaos. I know the first year is just going to be insane.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it's going to be a totally crazy, incredibly different year of college football. Changes in the Big 12. Obviously, the Big 12 is a whole new conference. Big 10, bringing on all of those Western teams. SEC adding OU and Texas, finally. And then, of course, the playoff expanding to 12. So my prediction, I'm with you, Lexi. I think Georgia ends up winning the national championship if I had to go way too early. I'm going to predict. Let's go with four SEC teams in the CFP.
Ooh, I'm curious too because Oregon, Washington are getting completely shook up. USC is going to look different. UCLA, so it's going to be kind of wild. Those teams coming into the Big Ten. A lot of them think they're going to do well right away, but Nebraska said the same thing. You get a little bit of a hit a brick wall when you join. So yeah, I'm excited for that, but I don't think a lot of Big Ten teams will be in the first year because they're probably going to all just beat up on each other. I can see a lot of SEC.
Like, I'm interested to see how Michigan does, with no Harbaugh. Sharon Moore, obviously great. I thought that was a really solid hire. Interested to see how he does with, like, outside of the interim role, just fully going. I think Ohio State's going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of folks in the Big Ten. And, I think maybe those Western teams coming in, I mean, think about it. USC just lost Caleb Williams, and they weren't very good last year. UCLA just lost Chip Kelly. Washington had Kalen DeBoer gone and lost a ton of people. And then Oregon really is the only newcomer out west that has some stock to him. Bringing in Dylan Gabriel, they still have Dan Lanning, who's been great. They've been recruiting at a high clip. So I'm just intrigued to see who steps up here outside of Ohio State and Michigan. I don't know if anyone does.
Penn State? Nah, because James Franklin's right.
They're going to do this. They're going to do the same thing they always do. Who does Penn State play this year? Who does Penn State play next year?
They don't play Ohio State or Michigan for like another 4 years.
They got a break. Good for them.
Wow.
Yeah, they have no rival in the Big Ten. No one matched up with them.
Oh my god. That was the funniest thing, is they did not having their own rival. Hilarious. Oh man. Yeah, they have Ohio State.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. So 2024, they got West Virginia on the road, UCLA at home. They have to go to the Coliseum. They have to go to Camp Randall. They host Ohio State and host Washington. They got to go to Purdue, which might be horrible now. Then at Minnesota, Maryland. So, maybe they could go on a run here. I just think Ohio State's going to kind of bowl over everybody.
Yeah. It must be like they don't play them like next year. They play them every other. Or something like where they don't have to face us often anymore. It's kind of BS, but whatever.
Yeah.
My way too early prediction for college is that I think we're going to see Coach Prime rise again. I think Colorado is going to come back with a vengeance next year, and I think they're going to make the 12-team playoff next year. And I'll tell you why. One, because they're in the Big 12, and there's no Oklahoma and there's no Texas in the Big 12. So you look at their schedule, they're playing, of course, Nebraska, but, Baylor, UCF, Kansas State, who's obviously always a tough team to play. They're going to have some tough games. Well, no. They're going to have some, actually Utah. They get Utah at home. At Kansas is never easy. At Texas Tech, at Arizona. But I think Colorado's going to get it done. They're going to get better players in the portal. Going to be year 2 under Dion. I think Shedeur Sanders is an NFL first-round talent type quarterback, and I think he knows he did not get a chance to showcase his abilities behind that awful offensive line last year. So I think Colorado's, with another year under its belt, is going to improve with they're going to improve and I think they're going to be good enough to make a bid for the 12-team playoff, and Deion's gonna be Coach Prime's gonna be pretty happy there in Boulder. So that's my big way too early prediction for next year for college.
I'm just saying, Max, looking at that schedule, you're talking about those big new Big 12 names. North Dakota State game 1. Who scheduled this? ADs. Stop scheduling North Dakota State and stop scheduling South Dakota State. They will sneak up on you and beat you or at least give you hell. So I mean, I'm just saying. OSU has South Dakota State, who is actually better now, reigning D2 champs. That's a prediction for you right there. Jackrabbits to take game 1 in Stillwater. If we want to get spicy, I feel like everyone's a little too overinflated, at least over here, overinflated on the Cowboys. They're returning a ton of production, all that. I'm telling you, nothing Mike Gundy loves more than losing an early one to a team he shouldn't have any business losing to. So just a prediction right there.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, Bobby. Like, I am a little nervous about this early schedule for Colorado because it is like North Dakota State, who, like you said, is a great school in the FCS. Then you have at Nebraska, who I think is going to be a better team, with year 2 under Matt Rule. And then at Colorado State, who, if you remember from this past year, Colorado State gave them hell in Boulder, and I don't think that's going to change next year. I think they're gonna want to beat Colorado really bad. So
that's going to be like a chippy rivalry, like in-state Michigan State is like they're just like it's just toxic energy from beginning to end.
Oh yeah, Colorado State and Colorado have hated each other forever. They've had that rivalry. Getting it out of a neutral site was good, but probably a lot of too many words to Colorado State over the year. Just given how much hype that game got. Like, look, the Coach Prime thing was great, but can we talk about how we all collectively lost our minds at Colorado State? Maybe that should have been the sign that maybe they're a little overrated.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And literally, I mean, being on the West Coast, and I was like, dang, this is a late game. But that tells you how bad it was. And people on the East Coast were up until 1 a.m. watching that game. That was insanity. That was the peak of Colorado mania. But no, I think legitimately there's a lot of reasons Colorado's gonna be better this year. I think they could be a contender for the Big 12 championship. We'll see what they do in the portal and stuff before I officially make that declaration. But I think right now they're going to get better talent. You got Travis Hunter, you got Shador. I think they're going to be able to make some noise here in the playoff discussion.
I got to ask real quick, Max, by the way. What are your thoughts on the Tar Heels next year? No Drake May. What does the future look like?
Yeah. Sorry, you guys froze for me.
You froze for us. I thought you were just so devastated at losing Drake May that you were just I can't. It's oh no, I broke him.
Okay. All right. Well. So yeah, how I feel about North Carolina next year without Drake May? Great question. I don't know exactly how to feel yet. I think it's going to be. I think I feel the same way that I felt going into the first Drake May year. Just a bit of unsureness, I guess if that's a word. Because you're coming off Sam Howell, and I was optimistic because I remember 2 years before that when Drake flipped his commitment from Alabama, and so I was okay, yeah, if he was recruited by Alabama, he must be pretty good. And so I had an inkling that he was going to be a good quarterback. You watch the spring game, you watch kind of how it played out, and you kind of immediately knew he was going to be okay. But going into that year, it's still a lot of unknown. So I think this year is sort of the same. I just feel a little bit better. I feel that the ACC had the needle hasn't really moved on how good it is. So I think we'll see what they do. In recruiting and I'm not recruiting. Excuse me. We'll see what they do in the portal. We'll see what they look like in the spring and all that. I can't really say, but I think what it's going to come down to is what they are able to do defensively And we are losing some, not only Drake May, but Cedric Gray on the other side. He was our best defensive player. He's going to the draft. So we're losing some talent. But yeah, bottom line for the Tar Heels, it depends on what they, come up with talent wise. Mac Brown, you know, I think there's something fundamentally flawed with the program and the way that we just like start well and then like completely, the the rug kind of like falls out from under us. When we play, Georgia Tech or Virginia. Like I think that's a fundamental issue that I don't know how that's fixed. But yeah, I'm just as a fan, waiting to see the talent. Hopeful that we make some kind of like changes to that weird situation. Interested to see what the coaching looks like, and this whoever the quarterback is going to be. Maybe gold. I mean, maybe lightning strikes 3 times, and the guy is another first round guy that we got in the quarterback. So we'll see. But good question. I appreciate the question.
I will say, not having SMU, Cal, or Stanford on the schedule, that kind of sucks. They gave you a raw deal having to play actual football teams.
Yeah, I did notice that. I was like, thanks. This new ACC is working out great for us. No, but I think it's going to be fun to play from Charlotte. To be honest, that's going to be a layup, and NC Central as well. James Madison. So I honestly don't have that much to complain about. Boston,
James Madison's going to be spicy as hell. You avoid Clemson, which is good. You have to go to Florida State, but you have to. We all know what DJU is, so
NC State comes to Chapel Hill, Minnesota. That's the one I'm kind of worried about, to be honest. But I mean, yeah, for the week 1 for like a new quarterback, that's kind of scary. But we'll see.
I just want to say, schedule looks delightful compared to OU's slate of Alabama, LSU, Tennessee, Texas. Who am I missing? Ole Miss, Missouri. Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
Texas, Oregon, Washington, USC, Ohio State, Penn State. I hear you.
Still tricky, but yeah.
It's going to be awesome as a season ticket holder next year. I'll just tell you that. I mean, I can sell these Texas tickets and like pay for half my wedding. So, but I'm not going to. I'm going to that game, but it's going to be exciting.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Texas fans are going to show out to the big house for sure. Michigan has some cool non-cons coming up too. Yeah. Certain team in Norman. So.
All right, y'all. Last thing, it's the prediction, the late early predictions for the NFL. What you guys got?
I think my Lions are coming back to take over the North again. I think it's going to be a fight to the death with them and the Packers, though. I'll say that. But I really, and this isn't even just like Homer saying it, I think that the Lions make the Super Bowl next year. I think that I'm so excited for this draft. They were right there with some missing pieces. You get a better secondary. You get, a little bit more on your offensive line. I think it'll be perfect. But it's going to be crazy, though, because the Packers are really good, too. But I think the Chiefs might run it back, too, but the Lions are going to stop that three-peat.
I think KC three-peats. I just have a feeling that, there's something that clicks after 2 that, sometimes like the third one can be too big or, whatever. But this team feels focused. This franchise feels locked in. And to be one away from something that we haven't seen, we've seen three-peats, right? Have we? Or am I wrong on that?
Not since
like
Brady's 04, I think, right?
No,
because
in Super Bowl era, I don't think there's been a three-peat. I might be.
Oh no, there hasn't. You're right.
I think they make a run at it. I just have a feeling. I mean, you have to be lucky. You have to be good. and you have to be scrappy. I think they have two of those. I mean, we won't know about the luck part until it actually happens, but
yeah. I'm also, there's like a lot of even other teams though, like, Joe Burrow getting healthy again, building up that team. Like, I know I saw some prediction that was like the Lions lose to the Bengals in the Super Bowl, and I will be sick if we lose to a team from Ohio. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of changes next year too. So exciting.
So we've had 9 back-to-back winners of the Super Bowl, and no three-peats.
The last back-to-back though was Brady, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, the last back-to-back was the Patriots 03, 04, and 04, 05.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the last back-to-back. But yeah, no three-peats yet. So there you go. And you said, I'm sorry, what was your prediction, Lexi?
I mean, just that there's a lot of other changes coming too, even with coaches and a lot of things people needing in the draft. I just pray to God that the Vikings or the Bears do not take JJ, because I will be sick. I don't want that happening.
Yeah, I don't know. Some mock draft today, Warren Sharp, I think it was, his mock had like Drake May going 11th to the Vikings. Like, I was like, God, I hope that happens, because the Vikings will win a lot of games over the next 20 years. If Drake May falls out, and he's not going to a dumpster fire, he's just kind of going to like a kind of a cursed organization, to be honest. But yeah, no, yeah, JJ.
The rumor is an NFC team. I kept hearing like Seattle, and then now that Mike McDonald coaches there, I could like totally see that happening.
Yeah. So my way to early prediction for the NFL is, I don't think that either of the teams that were in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs, Niners, I don't think either of them are going back next year, especially the Chiefs. And I know this sounds crazy to say, but I think the AFC is just going to be tougher next year. Again, Joe Burrow, I'm sure will be back if he stays healthy. That's going to be a team. The whole AFC North, Bengals, the Ravens, the Browns are obviously going to be a tough team, and the Steelers, never really lay down. And if they draft a quarterback, like, they could be interesting. So you got the AFC North, even in the AFC West. The Broncos, I don't think are going to be as bad as they were this year. The Chargers definitely won't be as bad as they were this year. They got Jim Harbaugh. The Raiders, I mean, who cares? But we'll see. But like, I mean, across the AFC, the Jets, the Bills, the Dolphins, like, all these teams are going to be tougher. And I know some teams will probably fall off for whatever reasons, but I think the Chiefs are going to have a hard time next year getting back. With all the pressure on them, Travis Kelce another year older, Andy Reid another year older. We'll see what happens if they can add receiving talent in free agency in the draft. But I think the Chiefs are going to have a tough time getting back, and I think the Niners will have a tough time getting back because free agency questions with them is Brandon Ayuk going to resign? Coaching, who's going to replace Steve Wilkes as defensive coordinator? And is he going to be as good as Steve Wilkes or D'Amico or, you name it? I can see a lot of teams, bouncing back that were hard this year. Teams getting better. Teams giving the Niners their best shot. So, there's some good coaches that got hired in the NFC. Some great coaches that got hired in the AFC. Like, I think the Chiefs and the Niners, like, if you told me, Max, pick one thing that is definitely going to happen next year, or not definitely, but one thing that you feel strongly about happening next year, I would say I feel strongly that the Chiefs and the Niners are not going to be in the Super Bowl, neither one of them next year.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see like what Jim does with with Justin Herbert because I've kind of been waiting to see what his potential truly can be. So we'll see. I'll be watching Chargers games next year more than usual.
Yeah, me too. I can't think of like too many situations where like a really good, talented like player or quarterback just had like the worst possible coaches to start his career. Like I just can't even like think of it. But yeah, no, I'm excited for the Chargers. And yeah, the AFC West is going to be a dogfight for sure. But yeah, those are our predictions. So we'll see what happens next year. That's our show. It's been great rocking with you guys all year. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to take some time off, and we'll be back with some draft content in a few weeks. But yeah, great to do this with y'all. We had a great season. Loved every moment of it. Bobby, Lexi, it was a pleasure. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you guys.
Always a pleasure.
We'll see you guys.
See ya.
Peace.
Good time, y'all. See ya.